Klip sat at his desk reading the letter from Nax again. "So why'd you do it?" Maki said. "Do what?" Klip answered. "Lie. I needed someone to know. I needed someone to know why." "You've been keeping secrets from me," Maki said. "I didn't think that was possible." Klip didn't answer. "Is something wrong? Did I say something?" "We need to be back by dinner," Klip said. "Can you watch the time?" "Do you remember your oath?" "I do. Will you use it now?" "No," Maki said. "Just making sure you haven't forgotten." "Good. Now it's time to pay a visit to the doctor." Klip stood outside of a tall and wide gate made from a blackened metal. The building on the other side made Klip feel uneasy. Perhaps it was the brick and mortar used to create it. The construction lacked the symmetry that the others around it had. Judging by its sporadic nature, it appeared as if its builder had mandibles that had grown in the wrong way. The ground was barren of any life all the way up until the large wall that encased the entire structure. At the rear, a few workers were busily hauling dirt out from one of the lower entrances and carrying it away on carts pulled by various wild-looking bugs. Klip looked at the gate's handle. "Don't do it," Maki said. "This is a bad idea. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with you, unless you decide to go into that ant-hole." "I have to," Klip said. "It's the only option I have." He reached up, grabbed the handle, and pulled. Just as soon as he had opened the gate, a small procession of bugs in pale robes exited what looked like the main entrance. They crossed the large expanse between the door and the gate to meet Klip. He did not like how they huddled behind him, blocking off his route to the exit. "Welcome to Dr. Edwards' research facility," one of the bugs said. White robes hung lightly on her plump body. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, I don't, but—" "Not to worry, dear. The doctor can make special arrangements for those in need," she said, motioning with her claws for Klip to follow. "I don't like this," Maki said. "It's like they were waiting for you." "Deal with it," Klip said. "What did you say?" the lead attendant said, turning around. "Oh, I sneezed," Klip lied. The lead attendant smiled and gestured for Klip to keep following. "Sneezed?" Maki said. "That's the best you could come up with? We're in a roller pile now. The flies might not even want us after this." "Quiet," Klip thought at Maki. "That was your half of the oath." "What ails you today, young cricket?" the lead bug said as she held a hard piece of wood with a piece of paper pinned to it. She used a double-pronged pen dipped in ink to write. The two walked side by side as the group crossed the unusually large field between the gate and the entrance. The other 4 bugs trailed slowly behind them. "It isn't for me," Klip said. "I have a friend who had some problems. My friend is unwilling to come in. I came to ask questions on his behalf." "Excellent," she said. "Let us record those questions for you. The doctor is very busy, and we'd like to have all those questions in his claws the moment we have some of his time. What has your friend been experiencing?" "Voices," Klip said, "in my friend's head." "Voice bit! You're here about me!" Maki yelled. "Is your friend male or female?" "Male," Klip said. "And how long has your friend experienced voices?" "You were a few months old when we met," Maki said. "For a long time," Klip said. "He said he hadn't always had it, but that he's had it since he was young." "Clearly since he was young," she mused as she wrote something down. "Mildred, fetch something for me." Mildred came and listened to the head bug whisper in her ear. "All right, Taily," she said. Mildred then ran forward across the field into the building. "Sorry about that," Taily said, smiling and having a bit of a spring in her step. "Now, what do these voices do?" "Nothing really," Klip said. "They're just there. My friend said the voice was one of his father's, but his father is dead. Could the voice be a memory of his father? You think I'm useless? Maki said. I see. No mention of all the times I kept you alive. Not even the time I helped you break the trophies. Nothing. You wouldn't be here if not for me. Not likely, Taylor said. The group reached the entrance. Last chance to run, Maki said. Once you're out of here, I'm going to use my oath to implore you to start a journal on how many times the voice has helped you. After you, Taylor said. Klip entered the research facility. The questions were momentarily paused long enough for the group to enter the building. As Klip glanced backward, he noticed one of the members of the welcoming procession sit by the front door and peer out the window which overlooked the gate he had only moments before passed through. The other attendants led Klip onward. He looked around and inspected the complicated hallway system they traveled through. The design internally was fashioned similar to its external appearance, of rocks and mortar. It reminded Klip of the prison that Mud used to have, except this, if it were a prison, would have been harder to break out of. Thankfully, it was a research facility. 3 of the assistants followed Klip and Taylor down a few long corridors and finally to an examination room, where they sat Klip in the corner, and each one obtained a similar writing setup as Taylor's. Klip sat for a few moments, wondering what was going on. His attendants didn't seem in any hurry to explain. Were you waiting for me? He said. At the gate. Taylor laughed. Why would we be waiting for you? Well, Klip started, you all come out at once, like you weren't doing anything else. We keep an eye on the gate, Taylor said, but we weren't watching you. It may be hard to believe, but medicine is a relatively new practice. Many bugs do not wish to participate. Our job is to make them feel welcome and to take notes for the doctor to review, in case we notice something new or something he's interested in. Now, this voice in your friend's head, yes, that sounds like his father. What is the problem with this voice? That's what I asked him, Klip said. I guess my friend has found love, or at least he hopes he has. But he's, doesn't like an audience. I'm sorry. You must be more specific for us to understand, Taylor said, her antennae leaning forward. Klip shifted in his seat and fidgeted with his claws. Yeah, Klip, be more specific, Maki said. I can tell you really want to say something. An audience for what? Well, my friend would like to marry this female, Klip said. All right, Taylor said, leaning in forward more. An unusual practice to avoid the mating season, but nothing wrong with it. Are you saying that your friend doesn't want an audience at the wedding? No, Klip said. He'd be okay with that. It's just after the wedding. A laugh erupted within Klip's mind. Maki mocking Klip with laughter. I can't, Maki said, gasping as if trying to get air. Klip could feel the movement inside of him, as if he was rolling around in there. Oh, you mean for the nuptial flight, as the ants say, Taylor said, nodding as she wrote something down. The other bugs, too, took notes. You want privacy, but a voice in your head prevents that, Taylor said. In my friend's head, Klip corrected. Oh, of course, Taylor said. That's my mistake. What other questions does your friend have? How does he get rid of the voice? Klip said. Maki's laughter was replaced by silence. But just for those kinds of things. He doesn't mind it most of the other time. He just wants some privacy every now and then. Getting rid of the voice is a hard task, Taylor said. I'm afraid I do not have the answer. 2 knocks at the door summoned everyone's attention, and the attendants stood. A new beetle entered the room. He was tall, and not the kind of beetle Klip was expecting. His white robe concealed the 2 red stripes on his back, but it could not hide the powerful jaws on his face. "Hello," he said. "Sorry I'm late. May I see your notes, Taily? Thank you." Dr. Edward looked over the notes, nodding while he read, a smile spreading on his face. "You want to get rid of the voices in your head," Dr. Edward said, smiling. "No, not me," Klip said. "They're on to your lies," Maki said. "I think you should add to that journal, 'Why I should stop lying.' And the first line should say, 'Because I'm terrible at it.'" Taily pointed at something on her notes for the doctor. "Oh, of course," Dr. Edward said. "How original. Your friend wants help. Well, let us discuss this. I have seen many cases like your friend's. In fact, we have treated several other crickets in this very facility in hopes of curing them of the voices. Your friend is fortunate since there is only one voice, or at least you have only mentioned one voice. Some have many. Sometimes they bicker. Sometimes they are all friends. Would you like to see them?" "Well," Klip stammered, "no, I'm not here for a social visit. I'm here for answers." "I certainly would not like to see them," Maki said. "Come with me," Dr. Edwards said. "You always know something best when you take it apart and hold it in your claws. And this is your chance to understand how something works. There are difficulties with this condition that you must see to understand." Klip stood and followed Dr. Edward out of the room. "Keep up," Dr. Edward said. "It's a little ways down, and I do not enjoy how long it takes to get there." The further they went, the thicker the walls felt. Occasional lamp flies lit their way. At one point, Dr. Edward picked up a lamp and lit their path. The long winding hall eventually felt more earthy, but the walls were lined with hard rocks. After a significant descent, Klip noticed a brighter area ahead that appeared to be a room. He could start to smell something fragrant, but foul smells were not uncommon in deep caverns. "You're going to need to wash before dinner," Maki said. "You know how Piper likes a fresh smell." "You're right," Klip thought. "How are we on time?" "You'd think he'd notice this smell and clean up the place," Maki said. "He's a burying beetle," Klip thought. "I think he's used to this. I've heard some call them the God Eaters. The rollers don't like them, for obvious reasons, which would make sense if they did eat the gods." "I can still smell that gift on your claws," Maki said. "Don't remind me," Klip said. He touched his antennae to his claw to see if he really did smell like the gift. He could only smell the dank chamber. "How are we doing on time?" "It's hard to tell in here," Maki said, "but we'll need to go soon. It took us a quarter bell to get up here, and we're about half a bell's time until dinner." "Oh," Klip said, "I have an appointment that I have to get to. I have to go." "No," Dr. Edwards said. "You must let us help you. We're nearly there." He motioned to the lights of the open room ahead. "I could come back later," Klip said, turning to go, but being stopped by the attendants following him. "Move," he said. A strong claw gripped Klip on the shoulder. Dr. Edwards' claw. "We must examine you," he said. "Don't make this difficult." Klip tried to push the strong claw off, but it did not budge. "Just pretend," Maki said. His voice was more serious than it had been the entire visit. "Go along with it, and we'll make a run for it when they think you are cooperating. And let's not come back for the follow-up." Klip followed Dr. Edwards' strong pull. He began walking in front of him. "Ahead, the room opens up. We can use that space to get around this lot and get the spit out of here." "All right," Klip thought. "On my count," Maki said. 1, 2, 3. Klip was kicked from behind. It sent his body flying forwards into the open space. He shot through the air until he collided with a railing. "Strike the prong," Dr. Edward called out. Klip did not see what happened, but he felt it. A noise that was piercing overcame him. He could feel Maki inside of him cry out in pain. It was loud, louder than he had ever screamed before, louder even than when Klip drank the potions. What was more, Klip could feel something inside of him move. It wriggled uncontrollably. All the movement did something to Klip. He couldn't describe it, but he couldn't move. And he couldn't speak. He almost couldn't think. "You'll come to learn a better way of life," Dr. Edwards said. "One that is far more obedient. Or perhaps you won't. Life is short for those with your condition." Something sharp pierced Klip in his shoulder. Maki was still screaming. The sound kept throbbing again and again. The sharp stab penetrated Klip's lower neck joints, and something cold flowed into his body. The sharp thing was removed, and an overwhelming feeling of nausea filled him. He felt a strong need to purge, but the lack of consciousness took him first. He felt himself slump to the ground before everything completely faded from view.